Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining this Elite College Soccer Referees webinar. Obviously, along with me are Manny Ortiz, Steve Siomas, Chen Asiora, and we have a lot to cover tonight, but let's get a couple things out of the way. I know we have a lot of questions about COVID. Quite frankly,
You muted, Paul.
Paul, unmute.
Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Again, welcome to the Elite Series webinar, along with Manny Ortiz, Steve Siomas, and Chen Asiora. We have a lot to cover, but let's in the beginning. First of all, I see everybody's logging going. Try to put your state down so we know exactly where you're from, just in case I don't know who you is or who you are or where you're from, and the other guys will know. Secondly, it's got a lot of questions out done about the COVID. Quite frankly, we do not know about COVID. Our conferences have not notified us about what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, if they're going to do it. So for those of you who have questions with COVID, I just answered all your questions. Believe it or not, for me, I don't even have all the schedules yet. So it's a work in progress for them. It's a fluid situation for them. So as soon as we find out, we'll put something on our website, or you will sign, or we'll send something out to you. So, but right now, no COVID questions, please, because I know we have a lot of other questions, being forwarded. When it comes to the rule changes, the main thing we're going to cover tonight is violent behavior and fighting, to make it simple for all of you referees who are going to officiate in the spring. The second part of the program, or the first part, however Doug's going to run it for us, will be the goal kick and the wall situation. We should not have to spend a lot of time on this, for the simple reason that if you're watching European soccer or you're watching MLS, I sure do hope you will see what is legal and what is not legal. But we'll touch on that in just that's quite a long video that Manny and I put together up in Jacksonville with the help of Kevin Flynn and some boys up there. So again, we're not going to spend a lot of time on that, but if you have questions about that at the end, please let us know. And if you have questions, write it down in the question and answer thing, and then we'll try to get to it when we can. Okay, here we go.
Good to go. All right. Welcome, everyone. To follow up what Paul says, excited about having everybody on tonight with us, joining us. I'm excited to be with my partners here, and looking forward to conversing and sharing some ideas and thoughts with everyone here on this webinar tonight. We're going to go ahead and cover violent behavior 1 and 2 and fighting. Chen and I are going to tag team this together, and also, of course, Steve and Paul chime in here and help us out as we move along on these different plays, different clips. I think you'll enjoy. I think you really think you'll enjoy this session. So basically, what's happening, as you can read there, most of you, with violent behavior 1 and 2. We go with violent behavior 1 is 1 game. Violent behavior 2 is 2 games. And basically, what they did is they basically what Ken Andrus and the NCAA committee did, and his board, is they created 2 types of disciplinary actions for these type of offenses. So we're going to go through them and watch some video clips here in a second. Okay. Lena, go ahead. Next one. Some more verbiage there on violent behavior 1, as you can see, may be against anyone, and not competing for the ball there. It explains on 12.7 and 12.7481. Okay, and like I mentioned, the immediate ejection and a 1-game suspension. Next one. Okay, violent behavior 2 is, and this is what's important, everyone here, is unwarranted excessive act which is malicious and extreme and severe, that can create danger or create a physical injury to the player. And these acts include, but not limited to, headbutting, elbowing, stomping, kicking a defenseless person, hair pulling. This, as everyone's well aware now, is a two-game suspension. Basically, what we have to be aware or consider when we're refereeing out there is the, if you can go back, okay, there you go, thank you, is the key differentiators of the act or conduct, okay, and where it's premeditated, it shows malice, severity. Those, like I said, will fall into the violent behavior 2. Okay, so then next, Lana. Yeah, you're on. Paul, unmute yourself.
Can we go back just 1 second, Lana, please?
Sure, go ahead.
So look at this second paragraph. So violent behavior 2, hair pulling. So if you remember, if I remember correctly, last year it was only a yellow card. So they upgraded it to violent behavior 2, which means 2 games. So remember that, everybody.
All right. Then, and then of course here it tells you what a fight. Then we go to fighting. Tell you what's a fight defined as. And this is also this is a, like violent behavior 2. This is a 2-game suspension. Okay. And it's a deliberate strike, a punch, or an attempt. You don't have to connect for it to be a red card, for it not to be considered a fight. Very important that everybody's aware of this. And if you could see in the bottom there, that's how it was written last year, and they've changed up the writing, eliminated a few words, just changed up did a little bit different editing. The verbiage is a little bit different now than it was last year. So if we go next, Lana. Go ahead, next line. Okay, and then we go to the considerations, and they're pretty much spelled out there. Complete disregard safety of an opponent, put the opponent in danger, physical injury, shows clear malice, brutality if against an opponent, clearly presenting a serious risk or injury, severity of the action, it's premeditated, degree of intensity, the force there. And what part of the body is contact made with on that. All right. We'll go next one. So now we're going to do a video analysis now, and with the practical approach on this violent behavior 1 and 2 in the fighting. All right.
Hey Manny, before we play that one, I think it's important to point out to everybody also, folks, they've defined it as 1 and 2 game suspensions. But listen, folks, here's the thing. That consequence of game suspension or anything of that nature should not come into your mind as you make a decision as to whether something is a violent 1, violent 2, or fighting. In other words, you're not going into this saying, well, I don't want this to be a 2-game suspension, so I'm going to call this violent 1, or vice versa, right? So nobody should have that mentality. The consequences of what happens after the fact are not your issue. It is about doing what needs to be done in the match according to what the laws are saying.
Thank you, Chen. Again, Chen's exactly right. You have to judge the act. And if the act, in your opinion, is 100% violent conduct 2, that's what you report. If the act, in your opinion, is violent behavior 1, then that's what you report. And I think you'll get a clearer picture here once we show you some of these videos. But Chen is exactly is right on there on that statement. All right. Thank you, Chen. So let's go ahead and show this first one here. See the players start to punch each other there to the head in a malicious manner. Referee blows a whistle. And then you can also see one of the players was pulled down by the hair. This should be reported in your notes. Okay, and if you can put the notes up, Lan, is that possible? There we go. So this one should be fairly clear cut in our opinion, in everybody's opinion, that's a deliberate punch to the head. It's in a malicious manner. She's violently pulling her hair. The player also in white jersey deliberately throws a punch in a malicious manner, and you should have 2 ejections here for fighting. It should be pretty much clear cut in our opinion on this. All right. Go to the next one. Next, please. Players get up, start swinging in a malicious manner there. For them, not just one. The referee restores some order. The coach is helping out there. So here, as you can see, both players are throwing punches in a deliberate manner. Here, this is a clear example of fighting both players' parts. And also, you can play it. Go ahead and play it, Lana. You can play it again, please. There you go. Thank you. And as you can see, the coach, some of you are probably wondering, well, Manny, Paul, what do we do about the coach? Here, as you can see, the coach is coming out to be a peacemaker, and he gets out there rather quickly and helps out and tries to calm things down. So you could show the notes there, please, Doug or Lana. Okay, so we got a clear fight here. Ejection for both players. Coach is permitted. Why here in this situation? Because he's trying to be a peacemaker. He's not out there pushing players or taunting players. He's out there to be a peacemaker. The other thing here, I will be very careful with here as a referee with touching players. You want to be very careful and for the most part, in this situation, I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know if for the most part, be careful there. Try to stay away if you can from that. So just be very careful. You might want to use your body instead to get in between them instead of grabbing players. It's just you might be putting yourself at risk there. All right. All right. Then we'll go to the next one here. This one here is an example of okay, we're going to have a replay for everybody. Ball's played long. Player in blue, you can see, throws an elbow and connects with quite a bit of force. Deliberate, malicious, brutal, whatever adjective, adverb you want to use. The player connected there. And on this one, we have a violent behavior 2, which is the decision. Now, let me also add something that I failed to add in the beginning here. The views of these clips, gentlemen, the decisions, this is the NCAA official ruling. This is the NCAA official position of on these plays, on these incidents. So it's not a case of Manny says it's this and Paul says it's that. No, it's these are the official rulings that the NCAA provided us. So just wanted to make that clear that that's a ruling. Just like when FIFA has their or U.S. Soccer has their rulings on certain plays, that's the rule. That's the law, obviously in FIFA, but in college soccer, it's rules. So that's this is what the correct ruling, the correct decision would be with. In college soccer on this particular play.
And Manny, here's the thing on that particular play. If you go back real quick, Lana, to that particular slide, I think it's important on plays like this, obviously off the ball. The referee seemed to have a good angle and may have seen it, but there are a lot of times where this is a quick transition and maybe the referee's out of position. This is where it's critical to work as a team and see things off the ball. right? And smell that something like this could happen, right? And don't forget, if you're in a conference that uses replay and something like this happens, utilize the technology.
Thank you, Chen. And it's also, as everybody knows now, it's also you can use, like Chen mentioned, you can use video review to check this type of play out for the discipline action you can take. All right, Chen, you got the next one, buddy. You got the next couple.
Okay. All right. So this is really, really good, because how often have all of us been caught in this trap where we think the goalkeeper gets free rein coming out to play a ball, and we're often not paying very close attention. And you can clearly see in this clip the goalkeeper's intention, where his eyes are focused, and the ball actually just travels right by him because he is completely focused on making contact with that player, right? Not even near looking at the ball at that point in time. So go ahead and Lana, put up the NCAA room, but we can see this would be considered violent behavior too, obviously. No intent or complete malicious intent, excessive force to the head and neck injury. You know, this is what we've got to clean up and make sure we punish. All right, so go ahead and go to the next one. Ball's played and bang, right? So here we've got an off the ball foul in the back, right? Into the back, but not necessarily with maliciousness and intent to injure per se, right? More intended to send a message here, as you can see, boom, right in the back, not to the head or neck or anything. So go ahead and bring up the ruling from the NCAA. Here we would consider it violent one behavior, because we don't have that malicious intent here to injure per se, right? Anything to add there, Manny, at all?
Yeah, as to follow up on what Chen says, the key here is correct. This is a red card, and correct. There's no place in our game, and not our game, but in the college game, for this type of play, for this type of action. But it just falls right below the violent behavior 2 definition or verbiage. So that's why it's very critical that you read and you basically memorize and know the verbiage and the definition of violent behavior 1 and 2, because it's critical when you make these type of decisions. And like Chen said, this falls not quite malicious yet, so that's why you would give a violent behavior 1 versus violent behavior 2.
Hey, can I jump in just for a second, because I'm reading the questions here.
Absolutely.
Let me just try to answer them as we go. First of all, we can't replay clips. Okay, so we have a lot to go through, so we're not going to go back to clip 1 and replay. Sorry. The second thing, somebody's got questions about the third person in. This is me talking, and let's not look for trouble. But if it is violent behavior, by all means you have to deal with it. And if you feel that the third person then incited, then you can deal that too with a yellow card. But don't look for the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and a couple of these clips we already seen. So, but you're the referee. If you think there's someone else created misconduct, you have the right to caution and or send off. So.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, so now this one is really going to be very interesting. So just watch very closely, because again, this is one where when you are a referee, if you are not staying with the play and you are turning your back, these are the ones that get missed. So go ahead and play this for us, Lana. Right, so what do a lot of us do? The goalkeeper gets the ball, and what are we trying to do? We're trying to get back down the field to get in position for the ball getting played out, and we turn instead of backpedaling out, and that's when we miss things like this, right? So here we go in the back, right? This is a foul meant to send a message right in the back, excessive, off the ball, right? But this again is like the one right before it, right? Is just getting to that level, but doesn't get to that maliciousness, if you will, right? And so go ahead and bring up the NCAA response. Again, you'll see violent behavior 1, right? Deliberately going out of her path, purposely hitting her in the back. This is absolutely to send that message. This is absolutely a red card, but a violent behavior 1 red card. So let's go on. All right. So I would hope that all of you would not have any questions about which one this is, right? What do we have here? We have frustration because we've been fouled. The guy's on the ground, and so here's my shot to punish him and stick my cleat. And he literally stomps. I mean, if you're that player, this has to hurt, right? So this is done with malicious intent, excessive, meant to injure, meant to cause pain. So this is a violent 2 red card. Okay. All right, Manny, you want to have the next couple?
Yes, thank you.
Before you go, Manny, Jen,
Yeah.
hold on. Here's a question. If you both have fighting and violent conduct 2 by the same person, do you report both, just one, and if so, which? So the same guy commits 2 acts.
Yeah, okay, if the same, you talking about he commits an act and he's red carded, then he commits another act a second later, you're saying, or?
Or he gets, no, in the same instance. So the guy commits a fighting offense, and then, as they're walking away, he headbutts the guy for violent conduct 2.
Yeah, then you're gonna. I believe you punish the fighting, which is the most severe offense, I believe.
The most severe offense, just like his direct or indirect free kick.
Yeah.
Okay, well, no, let's be clear. If it's at the same time, you're basically saying, Paul, because that makes a difference with the same time, or it's like a second later.
Manny, it's the same time. It's a question.
Okay.
You're fighting and then violent 2, all in the same action before you restart.
Okay.
And what's the answer?
If it's before you restart, you have to report both actions. So
Correct.
you have to report both actions in your report and write down he committed this act, which is fighting, or whatever you judge it to be, and then he also committed this act a second later or half a second later, which was violent behavior 2, if that's
Yes.
what you judge it to be.
So the first instance is what gets him the red card. That gets written up. But he does commit another offense after the red card. So you don't give him a red card, but you have to write in the report that second incident the same way you wrote the first incident, whatever that was.
Okay.
Correct. And what you do there, I'm sorry, Paul, I misunderstood you the first time. So what you do there is you basically have to write 2 reports, but as Chen mentioned, you only show, one red card. And almost as important is you have to also report that to the and to the scorekeeper before you restart play. You must report that it's this player committed 2 separate offenses. These are the offenses, and that's how you report that correctly before plays restarted. All right, good.
I'm following the questions here. Okay, thank you.
Good. All right. Now you can see here also on this play, a player does step on him, does jump on him, and clearly makes contact, and clearly is a red card here on this play with his left foot. He stomps on his steps on, kicks, whatever adverb you want to use there, on his leg, on the orange jersey player's leg. All right, now the committee on this one, let me, and if you can go to the verbiage here, the wording, please, Lana. This one was one of them that was very, very close. And in the opinion of the board, Ken and his committee, this was a violent behavior 1. Now, having said that, violent behavior 2 would be supported. So if your opinion, it's violent behavior 2, that's what, if you're 100% sure from your angle, that's what you see, that's what you report. But if your opinion, it's violent behavior 1, that's what you report. The key, obviously, is we got the right card and it was clear and there's no way we can miss that. So here, as I mentioned, the official decision is violent behavior 1, but violent behavior 2 would be supported.
And some of you may be saying, well, the last one was a stomp. And so this guy stomped on him. So what's the difference? Why would we want violent behavior 1 possibly here? And you got to look at the play. This is where the play comes in, right? There's a tackle coming in, and this player goes into the air to avoid being tackled. And the difference here is he could have avoided landing on the player and chose not to. But his initial action was not necessarily intended to stomp on the guy. It was to get in the air to avoid a tackle, but then he purposely didn't avoid the player, right? And took a shot, if you will, since it was convenient. So I think that's really important to kind of think about the difference between those two things. Whereas in the other one, it was very clear that he picked up his foot solely to stomp on the player to do that specific action the entire time.
Now, another thing that we'll go ahead and get into now for a minute is when we talk about these plays, like we mentioned, if you're 100% sure it's violent behavior 1, that's what you write. If you're 100% sure it's violent behavior 2, that's how you report it. If you're somewhere in the middle, like you're right in between and you're not sure if it's violent behavior 1 or 2, we suggest you go low. You go to violent behavior 1. If I'm talking about if you're not sure if it's violent behavior 1 or 2, you know it's a red card, but you're just not sure if it's going to be violent behavior 1 or 2. You're just not 100% sure. Either way, go low. Go to the violent behavior 1. Now, let me also be real clear here, and the rest of my colleagues be clear on this. Don't use this as an excuse to wimp out. Excuse my French. Okay, or to chicken out. If it's a clear violent behavior 2, that's what you report. So like I said, if you're clear about that, either way, that's what you report. If you're not clear on one of the two, go lower, go to violent behavior 1. Makes sense, Steve?
Yep.
We're good with that, Steve. Okay? Chan, we're good with that.
Excellent. Yep. Agreed.
All right. Go ahead. Next one, Lana. This is the play that kind of started a lot of this with the fighting and violent behavior. And years ago, this is the game. About 2010, 2009, before some of you were born, maybe, but definitely before some of you were started refereeing. And the play where the player in red basically went nuts and nothing happened to her this game. And basically what happened is this was everywhere. This is like, on social media before we had social media. I mean, everybody in the world, in the soccer world, saw this play, heard about this play. It was on the news. It was on USA Today. It was everywhere. So on this play, as you can see, the player deliberately and unwarrantedly, she used her excessive force to pull her hair in a malicious and extreme manner. So here, very, very clear violent behavior 2 on this for the that you have to issue here. No other correct decision here except violent behavior 2. All right. Thank you, Lana. Now, this play here is going to be a little bit different. Yes, she pulled her hair. Yes, she grabbed her hair. Yes, this is a red card. But it doesn't follow into the same severity or malicious manner the previous play did, that the previous game of New Mexico and Brigham Young. In this game, you can see the blue player grabbed her hair and then she grabbed and then released on this play. So it was like I said, not she shouldn't have done it obviously, and it's a red card, but she released right away. So it wasn't like she yanked her down and pulled her down in a malicious, forceful manner like in the previous clip we viewed. So here we go, violent behavior number one. This is basically a grab and release type of pulling. Ejection is correct decision, but it's not quite the level of violent behavior two on the board felt, which, you know, you can see the difference. Chen, what's your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can see the difference in the maliciousness. In the first one we just watched, clearly, the intent was to hurt and pull down and injure the player. Whereas this one, the player's beat. She's reaching out and grabbing the first thing she can, which happens to be the hair. It could have easily been a shirt, but it was the hair. So because it's the hair, guess what? It has to be a red card. But that clearly didn't have the maliciousness and the severe extreme intent that the first one did. So that's why this one is a violent one. And that was what I think that's what the NCAA might have been getting at in making these distinctions, right? One does not fit the other. They're both red cards, but one doesn't get punished the same way. So
thank you, Chen.
Yep.
We'll go to the next one, please, Lana. Can you play that again, Doug or Lana, please? If possible. Thank you. Okay, here what we have is a player. It's another headbutt. It's a headbutt situation where the player, as you can see, go ahead and push play there. The player, as you can see, goes in with force and hits the player, hits the opponent. And the referee actually does quite well, moving in there rather quickly, reading the situation, moves well. That was good stuff by the center referee there. On this one, there's a difference, okay? On this one, this was more of a malicious, more calculated, more what I call he lined him up. He lined his opponent and used force, and he used quite a bit of force, I thought, to strike him. Is there any way we can show that again, Lana, just so everybody can see it? Oh, no? Okay.
and there.
There. Okay. Cock back, went in,
Okay.
bang, right there. All right, very clear. All right, thank you, Lana. Next one. This game, actually, I was there. I was one of the conferences I signed here, and you can see here we have another headbutt situation. This one more, look at this one more. Yes, clear contact by the white jersey, the white and green jersey player to the blue jersey. Clear contact he made, but it wasn't in a sense, it wasn't close, not even close to the previous one. Where this one here, he more like he pushed him with his forehead, made contact, pushed, bumped into him with his head. Clearly did it deliberately and intentional. So here, this one would be more. It's not at the level of violent behavior 2, and it's not at the level of the previous one, violent behavior 2, but it is clear red card. And we need to issue a violent behavior 1 on this, a red card and a violent behavior 1 on this one. Anything to add to this, Paul or Steve?
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
Texting stuff. Everybody's texting me.
All right, let's go next one. Chin, you're on.
Yep. Excellent. Okay, so just watch this coming up. Boom. So we're getting fouled, we're getting fouled, we're getting frustrated. Boom. Okay. So this is up. It's a swing with the elbow to the head and neck area, right? You tell me what he's trying to do, right? You tell me if that's just excessive or if that becomes malicious. So go ahead and bring up the decision from the NCAA, and you'll see this elbow comes up. And so we have a striking incident, right? So deliberate strike or punch to the head and neck. This is absolutely malicious, right? So at a minimum, violent behavior 2, you could consider this fighting as well. This is one of those where you could either categorize it one way or another. So I wouldn't get hung up on that. It's either violent behavior 2, or if you think that strike constitutes fighting, whether it was with the arm or the fist, make that determination. Either way, we send off the player and it's violent 2 or fighting. So let's go to the next one.
Yeah, violent 2 on this one. Go ahead. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, watch closely. Watch closely. May or may not have caught that. Right? But if you're looking closely, she's getting a little bump in the back, little bump in the back. And then with the elbow into the gut, bang. Okay. Very, very clear. Go ahead and bring up the NCAA ruling. Excellent. So this is striking. It's in the middle of this. It's not to the head or neck. It's not malicious. This is just one of those little shots in the gut. So we have to punish. We have to send off. But this is going to be violent. Go ahead. Next one. Keep watching. So as an assigner, I'm sure all of us would agree, the 4 of us would agree, this is a frustrating situation for us, right? Because this is a fight, right? So we're going to have fighting here, but this is a fight that to some degree could have possibly been prevented if the referee crew would have been more proactive, shown more urgency, and kind of smelled that there were problems coming in, right? So this is definitely fighting we've got here, right? But this is where we'd say the referee crew has some responsibility to get in and try and manage this quicker. All right. Right now you have players coming together and we have nobody trying to deal with it. Right. And then it escalates. So that's what I'd say about this fighting. And we need to do a better job as a crew getting in there and managing that situation. Manny, anything to add to that?
No, excellent. No, right on exactly. And it mentions there number 27 on green, should be getting fighting red cards, and with 2 on white. Right on. You're spot on, Chen.
Excellent. Okay, Manny, go ahead.
Okay, we've got some video analysis plays that you make the call, and Doug, are they going to be able to provide an answer on the screen, or we can tally, or we're just going to go through the play?
You could have them write in the chat if you want.
Okay, does that work for you, Atlanta? Okay. You can see the players are going a little crazy here, a little out of control. several people are fighting. Also, take a note where the center referee. I realize, and sometimes they tell you to stand back and take numbers, and we're not telling you to get hit or anything like that, or to put yourself in danger. No, what we're saying though here is this: the presence of the referee could have possibly, calmed the situation down a little bit. But as you can see, and they're going to show it one more time real quick. Thank you. So here we have some fighting on this clip here. Here's a situation on these type of plays. This you have to give at least 2 fightings, one on each team at least. You have to give red cards. If you give no red cards, we got problems here. We got big problems here, people. The other point here is is with all this pushing and striking and attempting to strike. Like I mentioned previously, it would have helped if the referee would have maybe been a little bit closer, maybe blew his whistle. I don't know how loud his whistle was, but that might have helped calm the situation down a little bit. But I didn't see that happening on there. Any thoughts there, Chen or Paul?
Or Steve.
Or Steve, sorry. Sorry, Steve.
Silence, man.
You got to have presence here. You have to have presence. And again, be careful of putting your hands on players, but you've got a whistle and you've got a voice, and you can be in the proximity.
Okay. Player here with their elbow, uses quite a bit of force. And this is like what I said, this is, she clearly lined her up. I mean, she clearly knew what she was doing, clearly premeditated, clearly knew where she was going to make contact in her neck or face area where she got her. Obviously it's a red card. And here, this is a level, this violent behavior, this level has to be, you have to go with a violent behavior 2 on this one.
This player sat out for 4 weeks with a concussion after this foul.
Go ahead, Chen. This is one of your games, Chen. You got it.
Yep. This is, take a look at it. Boom. Starts with the hair and the shoulder and yanks down to get a position, right? So watch it again real quick. See a lot of VB1s, couple VB2s. Okay, more VB2s. Good. Okay. This is violent behavior 2, right? So it wasn't a grab and release. It was a grab and yank to gain position and get that player out of the way. She was frustrated. She was being posted up. And guess what? That was her response to it. So this is violent behavior 2. Now, if you did go violent behavior 1, right? The NCAA would, this is close. This is closer than the New Mexico, right? But you would be supported with a violent 1. But the NCAA, their opinion is that this is a violent 2. Okay, go on to the next one. Perfect. This is good. And bang.
Hey, Chen, these are all, Big Ten teams, Steve, that are committing doing these acts. What's going on there?
What's up?
No. The last clip was the away team committed that foul.
Hey, are you sure?
I'm positive. I'll own the ones that we do. Trust me. So bang. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of it. VB1, very good, right? So this is similar to that Kentucky. Was it Marshall in Kentucky? I think it was Marshall, Kentucky, Manny. The game that you had where you got up and kind of just Just kind of nudged him in the head. So this
Yep.
this is violent behavior 1. Good job. Whoop, watch down there. Can you run that back, Lana? Because that was a tough one to see if you weren't watching the right spot. So we're looking down toward the right. Nope, keep going back. Keep going. Here we go. And bang.
The left arm there.
Yep. Deliberately had it by the side and lifted it all the way up, deliberately to make contact with the face, right? See a lot of VB1s. There's some VB2s. All right, let's see what we want here. So this is one where we said it was absolutely malicious and deliberate. Lifted the arm up while he was standing next to him and popped him in the face with the fist, right? So we want violent behavior 2 here. Okay, go on to the next one. Okay, watch again. And bang. Okay. I do not see any VB1, so I'm happy about that. So yes, correct. Bring this up. This is definitely, in our opinion, violent behavior 2, but 1 would be supported as well. But this one, in our opinion, as we watched it, you could clearly see the ball was gone. You could clearly see that elbow right to the face, pretty with forcible contact. And I believe also, correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but didn't Sean say that this player was out for quite a while as well?
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Okay, good.
Good answers, correct answers. 95% of the time. It's good.
Perfect. Bring up the response from the NCAA. Violent behavior 2. All right, Manny. So do you think have we shown enough that we should probably move on to the next topic then, or
I think we only have, what, 2 more clips, I believe?
2 more? Okay.
I believe so. You can see here, player strikes to his neck, face, head area, whichever you want to call it, the defender. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't tell what his number is. You guys can help me. Number 4.
And bang.
Number 4 with the right hand there. Right hand, right arm. Strikes him, hits him. In
And
the face, neck there. So here, official ruling is violent behavior 1. But if you feel that 2, and I could see a violent behavior 2, some of you thinking that, and that's fine. That's supported also for striking. The key is like we mentioned in the beginning of the video, is we can't allow this type of conduct. We have to, on these type of red card offenses, we have to eject the player. I mean, it's clear we can't be giving on these type of players. There's no way we could be giving yellow cards, referees. We have to give a red card when you have this violent behavior 1 or 2. Go ahead, Lance.
Last
Play. I
one.
think it's the last one. Yours, Chen.
okay. Okay, run it. If you would, Lana, just can you run it again real quick? Because it was very quick at the beginning. So watch here, down here on the right. Here we go, right? So this is going to be what?
Yellow card.
Look at what he's doing. He's just pushing him out of the way. Get out of my face. Open hand. Doesn't cock it. He's just telling him to get out of his face and pushes him down. So here is where we've got a yellow card caution, right? This does not rise to that level of a violent behavior, correct? Okay, so this one is justifies for a yellow card and a lot of verbal talking.
And if we give a red card, we support it? Yeah, we support that scene as a red card?
We probably could support a red card. It would be really, really, quite frankly, and it would probably be a little difficult.
Okay.
But we could make that case to coaches. They won't be happy with it, but we could make the case.
Yeah. This is it?
Yep,
Hey, Paul?
that was the last one, guys.
Yeah,
Hey,
last
Paul.
one. Listen, real quick, we have some questions. They said
Yeah.
because if it was contact close to the face, but it depends on the contact in terms of like if the player barely touches, it's a lot different than actual making a hard, forceful movement and striking somebody in the face is a lot different from barely touching somebody in the face. And then when you barely touching somebody in the neck area. And then when you do that, they, go down right away rather easily. So be sure that you don't get tricked or get fooled on these type of plays. Would you not think, Chen?
That's correct. Yeah. I think there was a question in here, and maybe Paul. Yeah, I see that Paul's working on it. But if you have a VB2 and you go to replay and you think it's VB1, can you actually downgrade that? So, Paul, you're typing something. So do you want to?
No, again, yeah, I mean, if you have video review, from my understanding, if you have video review, it's like you said, Chen, utilize it. So you're not going to inform the coaches of VB1 or VB2 unless you look at the video first. So, if you don't have video review and you feel that is one of the other, then that's the one you have to go with. But the only way that'll get changed is if the conference steps in.
Another thing, if I may add, is you also might, in a situation like that, referees, you might also want to talk to your somebody on your crew, because maybe your view, as you know, maybe your angle wasn't the best and would look like to you like maybe a red card. If you ask the person that had a better view than you did, they might tell you otherwise. No, there was minimal contact and that player went down easily. I mean, so that's another option possibly at times, if you're not sure.
I'll put some final thoughts on this, and then we can take one or two questions, guys, but I think we're answering them as we're going here.
Okay.
We can't hide anymore. There's too much video. Even though you don't have video on the field, the coaches have video. Everything's being live streamed. Everything is just micromanaged. We can't hide anymore. So don't make excuses. Well, it's only the goalkeeper. Don't make excuses. It's only a women's game. And somebody put here in the comments, it's all about teamwork. So we can't rest. we can't be cold. We have games January 27 in Wisconsin. So I'm pretty sure we're not going to have 80-degree weather there. So we need to be on our toes for every game that we do, because it's going to come back down to us. And if it comes down to the people on this panel, it's going to come down to you. So please, let's get these right.
Okay, Lan, I think we're ready for the Next one. Here we go. You're on, Paul, you and Steve, or Paul, you and me. Your lead, Paul.
I'm listening.
Yeah, guys, look, we don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Oh, damn. So again, these are things that that you've been watching on games. It's very simple. We'll run through these very quickly. We did have one question that I would want to come up with. So let's just play it. We'll go from there. And then, what is legal and what is legal. So, there's the verbiage. You all know that the ball can be played anywhere inside the goal area on goal kicks. Anywhere inside. Doesn't have to go to the line. It can be played anywhere. So the video here, this is the first simple one. Ball's in play. There we go. All right. Simple. Let's go to the next one, Doug. Or Lana, please. And obviously the goalkeeper cannot use his hands. Same one. Again. He's outside of the penalty area. No big deal. Everything is legal. And, and we can just play. They can either go forward or backwards. This is just showing that the goalkeeper cannot use his hands. Okay. This is a little bit more tricky for the simple reason, what's the goalkeeper doing this for? Is it for tactical reasons or is it for time wasting? We have to be aware. So if this is in the 89th minute and they're winning 1-0, you may want to think about, well, this could be time wasting. So again, something you have to think about and then judge for that particular incident. Okay, it doesn't have to be the goalkeeper. It can be the defender. Anybody can play the ball within the goal area at the taking of a goal kick. Keep an eye on the questions, Chen, because I'm watching the videos. Please. Okay, Lana, thank you. Next one. This is nothing new. The goalkeeper can't touch the ball, can't handle the ball unless it's touched by an opponent. So this is not a rule change, but it's just telling you that sometimes we can get our guard down. And it's an indirect free kick from where the goalkeeper touches the ball, unless he's inside the penalty area, then it comes parallel to where the 6 is, closest to the 6. Okay.
Referee's on top of play, eh, Paul?
On top of play. Nice uniform. I like that uniform.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go again. ARs play a factor in this as well. This isn't just a referee. Go ahead, Lana, please. So this was one of the questions that came up. This is no different than the free kick, circumventing the free kick before we had this rule change. So you cannot circumvent the law by flicking it to another player off his thigh, off his chest, off his head. Okay. So again, this is something that some of the teams may not be aware of this, and this was actually this actually happened in I think the Spanish league. Correct me if I'm wrong. When the rule change was made. This is not legal, and it's indirect free kick from where the infraction occurs. Wall situations. Again, and if you're watching a lot of, European soccer, which I don't watch a lot of soccer, but if you're watching a lot of European soccer, you'll see, and even in MLS, and I'm not picking on MLS, but you'll see this in European soccer too, that sometimes they're not quite 1 meter. So they're getting away with it. So you have to ensure they have to be 1 yard, 1 meter from the wall. So this is what you need to be concerned with. So the referee has to have vision, has to keep that in mind. When there's 3 or more attackers in the wall, you have to be 1 meter away. Go ahead, Lana.
Hey, Paul.
Yep.
This question is coming to the chat room a couple times, and we saw the video explanation, but I'll have you answer it since some people may have not seen it in the video, which is do the opponents need to be outside the penalty area? And are defenders still supposed to leave the penalty area? Those are two questions that came up.
Okay, the defenders don't have to leave the penalty area. The opponents cannot enter the penalty area until the ball is in play. And I think we have some video of that. So,
Perfect.
and so you see here, the player is 1 meter away from the wall, and the goalkeeper decides to take the, the direct free kick. In this case, a direct free kick. So. This is one where there's a violation. Well, so the referee holds play, moves over, informs the player he has to be 1 meter away from the wall. This has actually happened in European League and MLS, where he goes back over with another instruction from the referee. So the question is to you, before we answer, the question is to you, can the referee or does the referee have a right to caution? Give a couple minutes. Okay, good. The answers are coming in, and they're all unanimous. Yes, the referee can caution this player for violating the rule 2 or 3 times, whatever it is. We don't want to do it on the second time, because this may be new, but on the third time, yes, you have the option to caution that player. Let's just hope he's not sitting on a yellow already. But yes, you have the option to caution that player. We see this a lot. I see this a lot in European soccer, where they can stand anywhere they want as long as they're 1 meter away. So they can stand in front. And what I've been seeing now is that, with 3 people in the wall, they're increasing the number of defenders in the wall, and they're putting 5 in the wall, whatever. And now the attackers, the opponents, are putting 2, 3 people 1 meter in front of the play. So again, something you need to be aware of. The AR needs to be aware of. But all this is legal, and the tactics are changing. This is not in the video, but I'm sure you've seen where there's a defender that's laying behind the wall so that the players in the wall can get a higher jump on free kick situations. So we did not put that in the wall. So that's why I wanted to mention it, which is legal, by the way. So here's a number of a couple of players in the 1 meter from the wall, so they can put multiple players there. Well,
Good shot, wasn't it, Paul?
that's terrific.
Nice left foot, right?
So in this one, you'll see where the attackers line up correctly, and then the defending wall moves up within 1 meter. So you need to move the wall back, because now they violated the 10-yard rule if they're only 9. So if they move up, they have to stay back. And the same thing, if it happens to the dissatisfaction of the referee, he has the right to caution a player. Not all 3, a player. I'm pretty sure you're going to see this one this spring and the fall, where the attacker moves in just before the kick, or when the kick is going in. So we need to be careful of when that happens, when the ball's in play, but he cannot move in. Okay, Lana, go ahead, please. We saw this before. Same thing. Cannot circumvent the law. you must keep an eye on the attackers. Obviously, in a real situational game, the referee will probably not be on the penalty area line, but the AR needs to be aware, referee needs to be aware that the attackers cannot encroach before the kick is in play. Okay, Lana, please. We have another video. There we are. Okay. Sorry that started late. Again, it's a situation where the attackers cannot enter do. If they do, it's a retake. The retake of the goal kick. So again, they cannot enter until the ball is in play. And I'm seeing more and more teams get away from the short goal kick, and again kicking the ball up and down the field. So the AR gets involved here for a foul, or did before the ball left the penalty area. This is one where the attacker or the player is not involved. The referee can use his judgment as to whether the attacker gets involved. So you see the player on the right clearly inside the penalty area, moving away from the play. Ball gets played to the opposite side. If the referee decides to let play continue, he can let play continue. If not, then it's a retake. So right here,
Hey, Paul, if you do it, if the same player do it for the second time,
if what, Steve?
if the same player encroaches the second time,
Again, the referee has the prerogative to caution if he wants, but he needs to have that warning first. I think the second time's a little too soon. Third time, I think, you definitely want to consider a yellow card. Again, you're the referee. You may have talked to that player, all game if you want. So those are the situations that we have. Again, if you're watching the Champions League or UEFA or whatever, so you can see what's happening in the game. It's constantly changing. The coaches are trying to find something to circumvent or to, or make it easier for them to score. The player behind laying down on the ground, yes, they can do that. They can do that more than once. I think I saw a question. But yes, that is completely legal. So be aware.
Hey, Paul?
Free kick specialist. Yeah.
Question from the group: if a player encroaches just before the free kick is taken, is it automatically a retake? Could there be some judgment depending upon the kick result?
So the ball's not in play, right?
Yep.
The ball's not in play.
Correct. Just before.
Yeah, I mean, if that player is going to get involved, then yeah, it needs to be a retake. If that player is not going to be involved, it doesn't need to be a retake.
cool.
What other questions do we have from the group? We went through this pretty quick.
Here's another question.
Yeah.
So I'm an attacker and I'm leaving the area. I'm on my way out of the area and the defenders put it in play inside the area. Whose fault is that? Or can I now go play it?
As long as you don't get involved in the play. So if you're on the right-hand side, close to the AR, and the ball gets played to the other side, and they take the ball upfield, then we continue to play. It's sort of like an advantage, but it's not advantage. The other one we didn't put in here, and I apologize. Is when the ball hits the goalkeeper. I mean, when the ball hits the referee. So that team gets possession of the ball. So that is in there as well. So we still have time. We still have another month or 3 weeks before season begins. You have the rule changes. We hope you're going to read the rule changes. We can defend a yellow card or a red card. We can defend that. We cannot defend lack of knowledge of the rules. I will tell you this: we are planning to offer this video to every coach in our conferences. So they're gonna, if they watch this video, and he also put it on our website, if they watch that video and their staff watch the video, they are going to know the rules. So, so please, 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 refresh yourself on the rules and, let's not have a rule screw up, in a game.
Also, Paul, this video is going to be, we're going to post it on the YouTube as well. So you can look at it again.
Yep, on YouTube, also on our website as well. So if you have time, 30 minutes of your day, you want to get refreshed before the season begins, then by all means, take a look at it. I know I will do it again. I'm pretty sure everybody on this panel will look at it again to be ready to answer any questions. Just as you had the questions for us coming in here, the coaches are going to have the questions. So, again, they have not played, very few teams have played with this rule change. So let's not, let's be proactive and talk to the coaches before the game and say, Coach, look, we know it's been a while. Don't forget the 2020 NCAA rule changes in regards to free kicks and walls and non behavior. So they know they're not being blindsided, even though they should not be. So, any other questions for us before we?
Well, I will need about 5 minutes time to discuss a couple of things for ECSR.
Okay, Steve.
When we're done with the questions.
One question, gentlemen. A couple referees are asking about the spray. If you can please talk for a minute, if they're allowed you spray in your conference or not.
Why not?
I'll speak for my conferences. If there's, you mean if they, if the conference doesn't supply the spray?
Correct.
Right. I think that's a tool. I think it's a tool that the referee should utilize. Just like the flags. The beeper flags are good to have, and that's a tool that, I think we should use anything within our means to, if you have that spray, decide to buy it on your own, by all means, use it. That's for me. I can't speak for the panelists here.
Yes, in my conferences.
Yes.
Yes, we use them in my conferences.
Use it.
Yep, Big Ten uses it.
Even Division III, what doesn't matter. If you have it, you want to use it, use it.
It's a good tool to have for sure.
Yeah.
Ref edge. You hear that? Okay.
All right. Can I talk a little bit?
Yes.
One second,
For
Steve.
an hour and a half, I haven't said nothing. I got to earn my money. All right, guys. Thanks for going and tuning in on this thing. What I want to remind everybody, registration is open and due from now to March 31st. Please do go in on the website and sign up. After the 31st, obviously, it's going to be more money. It's going to be 100. Right now, it's 85. For this year, for all the participants on the webinar and the clinics and the ones that are registered for 2021, they are going to receive free a yellow socks and a black socks. So we have 2 sets of socks that we're going to give to you. I don't know how we're going to distribute that. We're going to figure it out and give it to you. Also, the blue socks are going to be available through the website, but if you want to get it, you have to pay for that one. So all this is going to be posted on the website, the socks and everything else. We're going to have pictures on it. Give us a couple more days, a week or so, but don't forget to register for 2021 if you want to get the socks, and also you want to be considered for games in the fall.
Couple things on that.
Steve, cover the registration. There's some questions on if they're registered last year, they're registered this year. What does that cover?
Last year's registration counts for your games for the spring games this year. If you registered last year, you will get a games, either 1 or 2 or whatever we have. You will get games for 2021 spring. In order to be considered for games in the fall, you must register now for 2021. Is that explains?
So if they registered last year, they're eligible for games right now in spring if they're registered in 2020. And for 2021 fall games, they need to register soon.
Yes,
Is that correct?
correct.
Here's a couple things from my end, guys. Believe it or not, my assignments are already made. It's just that the conferences do not want me to release the schedules yet. Don't ask me the reason why. I don't know the answer. So there's one conference I have no games. I have no schedules. So again, as I said in the beginning, this is a fluid situation. They have, legal things they have to consider, and things that we have no idea what they have to consider. So you're just going to have to be patient. The other thing is, again, I can't stress enough that if you want to opt out, it's okay. It's okay to opt out, but we need to know now. Because, especially with me, the assignments have been made and you decide to opt out, I got to go in and replace you. So please let us know if you're going to opt out. And again, from the bottom of my heart, you need to do this because of safety. Okay. If you feel that it's unsafe, by all means, do not go referee. Your mask, I don't know if anybody's been following anything, but Boston University will require every participant to wear a mask with games played at their university. So, and if they play away, only their players will have to wear them. So put that in your bag, a couple masks, so you have extras. Your hand sanitizer becomes a big part of it now. All these things are something we've never done before. So we will give you more information when we receive information about whether there's going to be locker rooms, there's not going to be locker rooms, whatever the situation may be. We will get it to you as soon as we get it. But right now, we do not have it for the most part. So again, please just be patient with us and and then if we give you information, if we say, look, this conference is not going to test, and if you don't feel comfortable, opt out. Not a problem. We get it. Believe me, we get it. When it comes to 2021, and when it comes to our clinics and our camps and what we want to have, that is still up in the air. We need to find some place where we can find a place where we can gather 100, 125 people. We don't know if that's going to be possible. So there may be more of this, done the webinar wise with Doug and Lana here. So this works well. We wish you could see you in person. I think we get a better understanding that way. You get a better understanding, but we don't know what's going to happen in 2021. So I think that's all for me. I don't know if Chen or
Question, Paul, for everybody. They're asking, there's 3 or 4 questions here. One about electronic whistle, your conference require it, the cover over the whistle. Also, if you can maybe also talk for a moment about if you're having fewer games, like I know I am. And also as far as registration, if you're not sure, I'm thinking if you can't remember if you register or not, to email the assigner, email one of us for Steve or not. If you can touch on those 2 items.
Hey, I'm checking that all the time. Email me or Christina, and we'll reply back to you if you register or not.
Yeah, guys, there's going to be a lot less games this year. I know the Patriot has 6 games, 3 away, 3 home.
Yep.
Now they have no non-conference games. Some schools don't know if they're going to have non-conference games. We have schools in the ACC that are going to play games in Bradenton, Florida, because they're competing with fields with lacrosse and field hockey. So there's going to be neutral sites, Grand Island in Indiana, neutral sites in Indiana, neutral sites everywhere else. So please be patient. We'll get you the information as soon as we can. But I'm telling you, and if you think you have a headache trying to figure out these rules, we got a bigger headache trying to put this puzzle together.
Also, Paul, there will be a lot of games weekdays in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock games. So block your availability accordingly, please. When we assign you to 3 o'clock game and you work to 5, block those hours if you could, please. As far as me, Paul, obviously the Big Ten, we haven't got it yet, believe it or not. So we're talking about what, 2 more weeks, Gene?
It's been 2 more weeks for about 2 months.
About 3 months ago.
In other words, my answer is we'll get it when we get it.
Yeah, I got the Horizon schedule yesterday. I just put the whole thing up on the website on Arbiter. I'm going to start assigning Horizon League tomorrow. And I don't have a schedule for those of you who asked me, Wisconsin and Iowa, for Division III schools. I only got one. The other two haven't sent me, the other conference haven't sent me nothing. So it could be tomorrow. I might have another 200 games. So, and they're starting what? February 1st. So be ready.
Yeah. So here's what I want to reiterate something Paul said and add something else, which is, hey, let us know. We have to know immediately if you are opting out because of COVID. And again, it is no problem. It is okay. We understand. The second thing is, you notice that in some cases, Paul's talking about having games already at the end of January or February, very, very soon here, obviously. The Big Ten, I know where they're targeting March. I'm going to tell you, when these schedules get released and you get your schedule, we have no time as assigners any longer to wait for you to decide whether or not you want to accept that game, right? We're scheduling for the fall in March, right? Where we have time to let you work out your schedule. We don't have that kind of luxury. So I'm going to, on behalf of all 4 of us, remind you that when you get an assignment, you better be making that decision quick, because we're going to have to make adjustments because we just don't have time to wait at this point between the time we get the games and by the time the games start.
Also, if you can touch, guys, gentlemen, on I might have missed it on whistles, what electronic whistle stuff, and also there was a question, Paul, that probably pertains more to you, on games in New England.
What about games in New England?
As far as if they're going to play, things like that.
Yeah, they're playing. Hey,
Bring their snow gear.
Hey guys, as far as I know, and except for even talking with the panelists here, as far as I know, no team or conference I shouldn't say that. No team has opted out. So the University of Maine and the University of Vermont are playing. Okay, they're playing. So, and everybody else in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, they're playing. But right now, that is the deal. That's what's going to happen.
Hey, Steve, there's an administration question out there that if they've already done a background check with NYSOA, do they have to do one through ECSR?
Yes, our conference only recognizes ECSR. The only exception is that if they do one with the NCAA, then they will accept that one.
How about whistles, guys? What's your requirements or policy on whistles?
We don't have any requirements as far as I know. In my conference, the only thing they're talking about masks, and they want to wear masks during the game. It's going to be a tough one for the referee. I think everybody else will be okay. So we're going to update that, and as soon as we have more information, at least in my part, I will email to everybody and let you know what each conference want to do, because they're all different. They're everywhere right now. They don't know what they want either.
Yeah, I apologize, guys. Ivy League did opt out. That's that conference is not playing in the fall. Someone asked about orange balls. Whatever it takes. If you have snow and they have orange balls, play with orange balls.
Yeah, why not? Of
course.
How about whistles, Paul, for your conferences?
Whistles, I have no mandates. I have no mandate that they have to use the electronic whistle. Again, we'll find out more. That's a recommendation by the NCAA, but if the conference says you have to use electronic whistles, you have to use electronic whistles. But we'll know more as we get closer. We're already close, but as we get closer. So we'll give you that information. But I want to, again, thank you for your time tonight. Look at the videos on, on YouTube and our website. For those who could not make it tonight and who can't make it next week, tell them about the videos. They can refresh themselves. and be ready for games. Again, my games for the Big East start January 27th. Most of the conferences, I think in all the conference games are not playing until March, but they're going to have games before that if the conference allows them to have that. So again, I wish you everybody the best of luck. I wish everybody to stay safe, families to stay safe. And for those who have caught it, please keep them in their prayers and their families, and wish they get well very, very quickly. And if you know anybody that has had it, it's unbelievable. So please pray for them who do have it, and wish them a speedy recovery. So
You had it. How you doing, Chin? You had it. You can talk about it.
My experience was not a good experience with it, so take it very, very seriously. That's what I'd say. Be very careful, take it seriously. My wife had a great experience when she got it. My experience was the exact opposite, and I was down for about 2 weeks.
So take care of yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, please. And I want to thank Doug and Lana at Never Ends Productions for putting this together for us. It's a great partnership that we have, and you guys been really, really great questions, great participation. I appreciate it. And there they are. And
Give them a hand. Hey,
thank you, Doug. Thank you, Lana. Thank you very much.
Lana, thank you.
And then again, good night, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you.
Paul, hang on. Paul, if you could, Steve, remind them of the next date before you go off, before we sign off.
January 25th, same time, 7 to 8:30 Eastern time.
January 25th.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Stay warm. Nice,